Intro music.
Hello,
everybody. My name is James.
And my name is Joey.
And this is the Brothers Padres.
So we're going to go over a few things about the 2020 season. As I said last episode, this is the best season in Padres history. And even at 60 games, it proved to be probably the best lineup we've ever seen in Padres history. The best pitching you've probably seen.
Yeah, at least since the late 90s.
We're an incredible team.
Yeah.
And in this episode, we're going to go over 4 of the favorite things we liked about the 2020 season and 1 thing we did not like.
Correct.
So James and I made a list. And James, why don't you start us off?
Well, okay. So, let me pull up on my phone, ladies and gentlemen, because I am a professional. The first thing is obvious. Slam Diego.
What do you like about Slam Diego, James?
I was getting there, Joseph. I was getting there. You can calm down. Oh, my goodness. I picked the wrong brother to do a podcast with. All right. What I liked about Slam Diego, not only was it just awesome baseball, it was the first time I can remember of being a Padre for 30 plus years where every sports station, every sports conversation was talking about something great the Padres were doing. Remember, this is a team where whenever we're ever in the stats, it's always, hey, that team lost 800 games in 3 seasons. How is that mathematically possible? It is for San Diego. But no, Slam Diego proved that to the world that, hey, we are a real legitimate team and we are making positive stats.
Honest to God, probably one of the top 5 most exciting moments of my life. I was driving on the 15 going north, and I had Ted Leitner on listening to Jesse Agler, and it's like Eric Hosmer steps up with the bases loaded, and you're like, there's no way. There's no way, right?
It was incredible.
I think what's so trippy about that, and something about that's so awesome about the 2020 season with Slam Diego, is that something that the team did so well contributed to it, which is working the count. I've never seen a Padres team work the count as much as they did. And when you work the count, you get walks. You get base loaded a lot. Slam Diego, it's thanks to just really, really great plate discipline, really, really great, just assessing the pitcher's talent and understanding, they're going to catch me at this level. They're going to catch me with this pitch. It was awesome.
With the entire team. We've obviously had people with great plate discipline, T-Gwen, but this is the entire team. Again, like you said, the entire team, it just feels, again, not since 1998 have we had this many talented people on our lineup. And again, plate discipline, it was about respect. I thought it was the first thing to show the Padres and the rest of the country, look, we're here to stay. Name a bigger thing in sports in 2020 that, it's not obviously not San Diego because we have no other sports, but in the country, it was one of the top. If you look at 2020 best sports moments, they're going to pick something football because they always do because the system is rigged. But honestly, if you honest yourself, it would be the Slam Diego.
That was incredible. I think it was one of those moments where I think Mark Grant said this. Not Mark Grant. Darnarcello said this. A lot of things got to line up. A lot of things got to line up. Yeah. Just the first team. And if for some reason the year 3030 someone listened to this podcast, what happened was the San Diego Padres for 4 games straight hit a grand slam each game.
Never done before
in the history of baseball.
And the incredible thing is, on the 6th day, they hit another home run, grand slam. First time in Major League Baseball history, 5 grand slams were hit within 1 week.
And so there's also this other great thing is that those 5 players were all 5 grand slams with those 5 grand slams were all by 5 different people.
Yes.
Tatis, Will Myers, Machado, Hosmer, Cronenworth.
Yes. And the thing is, 2 of those players, legit superstars. two of those players, great players. One of them hadn't shown a lot of promise until this exact year, and the fifth was a rookie. This is a team. They all did it. It is an amazing accomplishment for a team.
Like I said, when I was driving. I was in the 15 getting off my off ramp to go to my apartment, and I was like, "This." Like when Ted Leitner said, "Oh, it's crushed," like rush, like how he says it, and you're like, "No, that just can't be real." Like it's so comical. Like it really is just like 4 straight grand slams. It's just comical.
And again, for those who are new San Diego Padre fans, this is an amazing record. And like, here's a record the Padres have. We're the first team to ever win our division with a losing record. Now, yes, that proves that the other 4 teams in our division sucked worse than we did that year, but nobody wants to win the division with a losing record. These are the kind of things that the Padres are associated with. To be associated with a stat that people are going to talk about forever is just awesome.
Yeah. It's just great.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole episode on this, but Joey, what is your first thing you liked about 2020?
So you mentioned my boy. My first one is, of course, the rise of Cronenworth. In the offseason, we traded Xavier Edwards and Hunter Renfroe for Tommy Pham and Jake Cronenworth.
Everyone thought Fan was the golden piece in that.
Everyone did, right? Blake Snell, who is now a Padre, famously said it live on stream that we traded Tommy Pham for slap dick prospects. Well, that prospect that we got was Jake Cronenworth. Out of University of Michigan, can pitch and hit, was their closer in Michigan, plus he hit. Incredible athlete. And everyone was like, this is great. But Tampa Bay Rays had a guy named Brandon McKay. Same thing. But it was just like, his stuff was okay. And like we just all kind of thought that was it. It was going to be like this fun, fluky kind of guy.
A backup infielder at best.
This will tie into something also. Another part of my list is Eric Hosmer started off incredibly hot 2020. Gets injured with the runs, the acid poops. We don't know. Whatever it was. He lost a lot of weight. COVID. We feel sorry for him.
Super COVID.
But we had an opening in the infield at first base. And then all of a sudden, Jake Cronenworth came in, who's never played first base in Major League. He's actually a shortstop. Plays first base and starts getting regular bats and starts seeing this kid. Not a kid. He's 27 years old. Young man. Younger
than we are.
Younger than we are. And we hate him for it every day.
Punk.
This guy comes in and he just has great plate discipline. He's embodying what the rest of the Padres are doing at the time. Working the count, seeing the ball well. And then he plays an incredible defense at first base. That series against the Dodgers, I swear, every ball hit down the first base line, Cronenworth got it. He was just like leaping up in the air, making these incredible plays.
And it was obvious they were trying to hit to him because here's a rookie who's never played first base before.
Dude's a stud athlete. Just incredible play discipline. Somehow we got, with Tommy Pham had a rough 2020 in a lot of ways, but still great play discipline. And I think we'll have a great 2021. With Tommy Pham, it's just a great trade. Like one of the top 5 Preller trades, which is probably a podcast episode we should do, which is like great Preller trades.
Yes.
But incredible play discipline. Just really awesome to watch him just at the plate. I just was not expecting. I'm just so used to Padres trading away Anthony Rizzo, Corey Kluber, and just seeing nothing. Just seeing this guy. Listen, I like some of those guys. I bought some of their jerseys, but listen, they're just some guys, okay? And I just was not expecting Jake Cronenworth to hit the 5th grand slam in under a week. I didn't expect this guy to be an incredible. He can fill in for Tatis at shortstop,
Yes.
And
Didn't he play third at one point?
That's a good question.
That was Ty France.
I think he played second. He obviously switched to second base.
Yes.
And And the infield was incredible. Like once Hosmer came back defensively, I thought it was like really, really good. So I thought it was great. I thought it was just as a Padres fan, it was just so nice to see we got a good end of the stick when it came to a trade.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, caveat, of course, later on, I do know one of yours is the ultimate creme de la creme of how we've turned a bad trade into a great trade.
Yes.
I won't spoil it, but you'll get there. But James, that's my number one. What's your number two?
My number two is I've titled it "The Promised Will Myers." This guy was signed as our franchise player 4 or 5 years ago.
He was traded from
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, yeah.
And
he was a Royal when Tampa Bay. That's right.
Yeah, he won the Rookie of the Year in Tampa Bay, and he was signed, and everyone talked about, he's our next franchise guy. He's not a franchise player. He's a good player, and we showed that. And we've talked about this outside of the podcast about how it wasn't fair to put all that on his shoulders. He clearly wasn't that kind of a player. And we've seen this guy struggle, even though he's been our only. Again, people who are just listening to this who are new Padre fans, Will Myers has struggled for the last 4 years, and he's been our all-star, the only one on our elite team. A guy with 20-something home runs is our all-star because he happened to hit 301 and 20 home runs. This season, not only did we see the pressure of him being the leader of the team off his shoulders, Will Myers that we've been promised, and he finished second in home runs. The fact that he wasn't in the MVP conversation was just crime. I mean, I'm sorry. We had 3 MVP candidates this year, and Myers was definitely one of them. If he was on any other team this year with those stats, he would be their best player, except for Freddie Freeman on the Atlanta Braves.
Dude was on fire.
Yeah, that guy was, again.
He deserved it.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue. I mean, the man was in a different level this year for the Braves. But Myers, the promised Myers, he had everything right. He had his swing, everything. It was so good to see him finally break free. It was so good to see the fans finally seeing what Will Myers is supposed to be, and that will obviously trend into a 2021 season. With no doubt, he's going to be a 30 home run guy. He's going to hit over 300. This is just going to happen because Will Myers, I think, has stepped over, and I think a lot has to do with the pressure of being the top guy in the lineup is off. What do you think?
I think that everything said is 100% true. I think that the burden of being the best and not having that, like, I don't want to get too much into this because, like, athletes are athletes. They're always going to think you're the best. That's just at that level of professional sport to think you're the best.
Yeah.
But there's also a certain point where, like, it's tough not only compete on the field, but like being the person at every fan fest is like, there's the Myers line, there's the 130 people waiting to get the line for him. I'm being generous. Fan fest lines were never that big. They are now. Last fan fest.
Yes.
I apologize to everyone who goes to fan fest. I go too.
It's a great time.
It's a great time.
It's a great time.
And last time it was crazy.
Yeah.
Very not so coach social distance. So maybe it'll never happen again. Anyway, you see a guy who like super athlete, really a really athletic guy, really come together. Like the tools all came together, and it was awesome because middle of 2020, everyone was like, every year it's like, maybe we should trade Myers, maybe we should trade him away because we're a poverty franchise at heart. So we're just like, we can't have nice things.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when our nice things are aging, like anything, we just like, let's get rid of it. We want to save money because we think about money a lot as Padres fans.
Right. This wine is finally drinkable. Yeah. Let's give it away.
It was nice seeing the discourse like, oh, he's worth $20-25 million a year because the dude his accolades in 2020 are really cool at an individual level. We had 2 players hit 2 grand slams in 2020. Manny Machado, which dude like has 11 career grand slams and he's 28. Very upsetting. Anyway, I'm very jealous.
He's going for Robert Ventura's record for most grand slams in a career. Definitely.
And Will Myers.
Yeah.
Right. The dude doesn't, and he in the playoffs hit two home runs in the wild card series, like in the same game. Right. Just the protection in the lineup has given him just incredible like freedom to just hit well, and his fielding was vastly improved. It was just so cool to see. It was awesome.
It was great to see a good guy get finally what we were all promised. And again, if you were 100% honest with yourself, any baseball fans out there, Will Myers belonged in the top 5 players of all the National League this year. Top 10 in all of baseball, definitely.
What's crazy, I'm looking at the stats right now, when it comes to offensive production, the Padres had so many offensive people. Not offensive people that have offense.
Speaking is not his first thing.
That did super well. Like he just, I mean, the 2020 Padres all did well. That's what's so hard for me to say those words. Like I'm not used to saying that. I'm used to saying, oh, Will Venable had 2 hits yesterday. We might be 4th. You know, that's like the normal way I think about it.
Will Venable had 2 hits yesterday. We need to trade him for the Red Sox.
I know. I mean, outside the podcast, we've talked about Will Myers and looking at his defensive stats. Maybe they haven't vastly improved. Yes. Listen, I don't care. Watch him is awesome. Watching him has been awesome to see. Just seeing him just hit. He's just raking, man. And it's just fun to see.
And for everyone out there, let's not forget the best thing about Will Myers. Your wife has this huge crush on him.
Yeah, my wife does like him a lot. Definitely would leave me for him. Listen, he makes $20+ million a year.
You'd leave her for
Listen, I'd leave her for her. Screw it.
All right.
Okay. My number 2. Dinelson Lamet becomes a true ace. Awesome. I mean, Dinelson Lamet has been in the Padres now 3 years, and he's always been a flamethrower and always had the best thing about baseball is stuff. I love that we call things stuff and junk, but he's got the stuff, right? He's got the hard slider and the fastball. The problem is, he didn't know where to place those 2 pitches a lot. It was every which way. But this year it all came together, and it was just awesome to see. It was awesome to see him be a threat. It was awesome seeing just hard throwing righty just dominate. I mean, I think the game I think about specifically was I think that one of the more contentious Dodgers Padres game. It was Kershaw versus Lamet. It was an awesome game.
Yes.
We talk about Trent Grisham's home run pimp shot that ticked off the Dodgers like crazy. Like it was from an entertainment value, one of the best games of the year.
Absolutely.
But Lamet just mowed down the Dodgers. And let's be honest. Like I hate the Dodgers. I hate everything about them. I hate the color blue that they wear. Like I hate that stupid stadium. I don't like the Dodgers.
Who does?
They're a very good team, okay? They won the World Series, not because of just mistakes. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit because Kevin Cash threw away Blake Snell in the 6th inning. But,
yeah. Padres won't make that mistake. Dodgers.
You just saw Lamet take down the best offense in baseball.
Yes. He tore them apart like a surgeon.
Just dominated them. And that was it was cool to see as a fan, like, oh, we have a guy who's a true ace. And I think it's something to think about. Before he got injured, he was considered a Cy Young candidate. And then Bauer, last 2 starts, just Bauer. So he became Cy Young. But just a couple of things about Lamet is he ended up 5th in ERA in all baseball, 5th in strikeouts per 9, 5th in pitchers wins above replacement, 4th in Cy Young voting. Like, this is a real ace. Like, he's a real legit ace. He's a real number 1. And when I first saw him years back, I thought he was just going to be a bullpen guy. He was going to come out and just throw gas. I didn't think he was going to last 6 to 8 innings of throwing gas. Like, he's consistently on Pitching Ninja, throwing 100 miles an hour last season on the corner. And you're just like, this is awesome. This is just what you want to watch as a fan, just like pure gas, pure control, and making people look like silly. And like I think I have to look this up, but I think he led in 2020 on 0-2 strikes, like 0-2 strikeouts. So basically, he got them to 0-2, and he struck them out. But just like because he can't understand, like even if you know it's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, his stuff still has movement. It's just awesome. I can talk about Lamet forever.
Well, one of the things about him that I found fascinating is he is the number one strikeout pitcher on a slider. Most people's strikeout pitch is a 2-seamer, 4-seamer fastball. His is a slider. He struck out like I can't remember. You're the stat guy. I think it was like something like 70% of his strikeouts was on his slider. And everyone keeps talking about he has the most dominant slider in baseball, and that's true. Just look at his stats. And what you said about his first couple seasons were true. And I believe it was Mark Grant. We're going to attribute everything to Mark Grant because he's our favorite. There's a difference between a pitcher and a thrower. He became a pitcher this year.
Yeah.
He learned his stuff. He knows how to think properly. He knows, hey, I can throw 3 fastballs at this guy, then throw this slider and he'll look like a fool. I mean, he struck out Bellinger this year and made Bellinger look like he was a kid. Like, and anytime you make Bellinger look that ridiculous, it brings joy to my heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lamet, absolutely.
What's your number 3, Mr. James?
My number 3, Mr. Joe, is Fernando Tatis Jr. becoming the most popular sports figure in all of sports this year. Like he was...
I don't know in all of sports, but...
all of sports. Who? Okay, Tom Brady. He's 75 years old. He's not cool anymore. Yeah, he could still win, but he's practically in a wheelchair throwing a ball. Just shows that the rest of football, again, it's a rigged system. That's why people like football. Sucks. Here's a 7-year-old being able to beat all these guys? No. I'm sorry. I'm getting too emotional. So that's the thing. Fernando Tatis Jr., the first time ever a San Diego sports star got he signed, what was it? Gatorade.
Oh, yeah.
First huge sports contract since Tony Gwynn. All right.
Oh, yeah.
And he's 21 years old. We don't hate him for that. We love him for that.
Because I love it. Listen.
Yeah, he's going to be there forever. It was every time you turn on ESPN, first lead, Fernando Tatis Jr. looking sexy as hell. You know, the pink armband, whatever that's all about. His eyeshadow, everything. His hair. If I could, I'd have hair like that. But, culturally, I can't do it.
And that's how James got canceled.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, again, how many times did you turn on, just pop up Major League Baseball at MLB.com, lead story, Tatis being awesome, everything he did. ESPN said this, I believe, and several other people have said this. Not since Ken Griffey Jr. has there been a player that sparked this much enthusiasm in the sport. This guy he's the face of baseball, and he'll be the face of baseball next year, this year as well, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, usually when you reserve hype because you're just like, we got to wait it out. But so interesting is, I think that if his career ended today, all the ink spilled last year was totally warranted. Yeah. The guy literally backed it up. Like the dude is a shortstop. Not only is he a shortstop, he's a tall shortstop. And that for a while was like, oh, tall, lanky shortstop, that's bad on your joints, blah, blah, blah. The dude was a record leader in exit velocity. So you have guys like Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton who are like football players. They're monsters. They should be playing football. And you have Tatis Jr., a slender kid, and he's just destroying the ball off his bat.
Yes.
And then he's like a prime athlete. He loves being in front of the camera. He knows the game of baseball. There's a chemical like concoction of just like, whoa, this is a star. This is what you want. Like, and as we're speaking today, that supposedly this morning, Funko had a leak saying that he's going to literally be the cover athlete for MLB The Show, which of course he is.
Of course he is.
Of course he is.
That was, of course, that. You can't tell me when he did his epic bat flips.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's just.
Dude, so a little bit inside baseball. James was performing stand-up comedy back when it was allowed. If you're 30-30, stand-up comedy is now illegal. Punishable by death. Not really. James was, I think you were performing, I don't know, on a beach or something. Like you're performing outdoor set.
Yes. Because indoor is illegal and everyone's going to die. Yeah. So we have to do comedy outside.
So I'm watching the game in my apartment and it's 6-2, second game of the wild card series, right?
Yes.
Because this time in 2020, we had this weird wild card series, but thankfully we did because we lost the first game. So otherwise we wouldn't go advance. But second game, and Fernando Tatis gets up and he hits a 3-run homer, gets to 5-6. I then call James, just screaming out of my mind. I'm screaming out of my mind. Like I'm so stoked on this to happen. And I don't know if there was like a more like animalistic sports moment than that. Seeing basically like that's what stars do. Stars don't go down from the moment. We're down 4 runs in the 6th or 7th inning, right? And we're like, Padres past have been like, struck out, can't do it. You know, this kid just worked the count, got a pitch, hit a 3-run home run, and Manny Machado back to back.
Yeah, injected life into our team.
Incredible. But then the bat flip that's going to be on MLB The Show.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's one of those things that's so disrespectful. It's awesome. It's like people like when we were growing up. It's still a discourse now. The disrespecting of a sport of baseball. But when you cannot be in that moment and not do that.
Well, so here's the thing. He didn't flip the bat to the other team. He flipped the bat at his own players, his own team. Like, hey guys,
I love it.
Let's do this. Look at me. I'm the youngest one here. Let's get this shit going, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's the future of baseball, this sport's going to be more awesome than it was. Like it harkens back to Griffey. I think you're absolutely right. It's just Griffey-esque because Griffey was the most exciting player, and when Griffey hit a home run, you're like Griffey's bat flips. Like I'm thinking about getting goosebumps because he's just like I don't know how to describe it. It's destructive. It's so powerful.
So to again, that same game, I was at the beach. We're doing comedy. This is before I did my set, and as I got on my set, it was the 9th inning. The Padres shut it down. I did play-by-play on the stage for the final 3 outs of the game, and had the best set of the night, best set of the year, because I'm in front of 50 people that can't go in anywhere, and we're all sort of technically breaking the law, and we're all just like you should have seen it. I showed a photo of the video of him flipping the bat. It was already on Twitter. People are going nuts. This kid, again, not just Ken Griffey Jr. with the backwards hat, Ken Griffey Jr., awesome hair. Fernando Tatis Jr. These are again deserves to be the MLB The Show. Deserves to be again best sports figure in America right now.
It's a tough ask, but I think he's up there. He's really up there.
Who's more exciting? You can't name anybody. I mean, LeBron James, I'm sorry. He's been around forever, and half the country, I don't really follow basketball, so I can't back this up, but doesn't half the country hate him?
It depends on what team he's on.
Yeah, I know. Because he keeps switching back and forth, like he can't decide.
He keeps winning rings, though. That's the problem.
That's true. But, legitimately, I know him and Steph Curry, and after that...
Yeah. Most of America. But that's what Tatis is now.
Yeah.
People now know Tatis Jr. as the baseball player, as the baseball player.
Yes. And before 2020 season, we were ranked the 25th biggest market in Baseball out of 26.
Yeah.
Because of Tatis Jr., we're now 17th.
It's awesome. It's just, I mean, there could be a podcast just on him. I mean, a podcast. I don't mean like a podcast episode. A podcast.
Yes.
On it. There's so much. There's so much we can pump this guy up. He's especially as San Diego sports fans, and like it's so weird saying that because we got Machado, and like Machado's an incredible player, and he's a great player, but Tatis is a transcendent player. It really is, and it feels weird saying this, but just like going back to what we talked about earlier. Something did change when we traded James Shields for him, right? This little lanky kid in the White Sox organization, and we gave the White Sox money to take away big game James, like, you know, and there's no one. He wasn't even considered like great, and then it was the first time I was like, oh, maybe the Padres' luck is turning around the corner, and like Preller is obviously known for building farm systems, but you just see this turnaround
and it was immediate. The first time he went up in spring training, they're oh, this kid's special. I mean, again, everyone would compare it immediately to A-Rod, which again is not right. No. He is Griffey all the way.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. I mean,
again, we could talk about him all day long, but since we don't want to make this a 60-hour podcast, Joseph, what was yours?
Goes back to a little bit of, we're going to talk about a lot probably in this show, of being the demons of Padres past. Unbeknownst to you and I, before the Cardinals advance, they changed the name to the Yadier Molinas. So the St. Louis Yadier Molinas came to town. And if you don't know, James and I have a special hatred for the broadcasters at ESPN because they never shut up about Yadier Molina.
Was there any other team? Was there any other player than Yadier Molina? Oh my! Every 5 seconds, Yadier Molina. I know he's definitely a first ballot Hall of Fame. The thing is, I've met Rick Sutcliffe. Yeah. He's a nice guy. Shut up! Shut. We're trying to keep this family friendly, but shut the living mother freaking up. He's an above average catcher, and his only claim to fame is he hasn't fallen apart in his later years like most catchers do.
Yeah, it was an obnoxious watch with audio.
Yeah, it definitely. It reminded me of, because again, the Padres never get respect, but not to get respect for a guy like Yadier Molina. It's not even like during the 1998 season when I realized that I hate everything to do with that's not the Padres, is they literally zoomed in on Derek Jeter's ass. And they were talking about how athletic he is. Look at his hips and how athletic he is. Like, no, you're doing a glory shot of this man's ass. I don't. You remember this? Do you remember?
No, I was 10 at the time.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a couple years older than Joseph. 5. I'm 5 years older than Joseph. Anyway, so they zoomed in on his ass. Oh, it was obnoxious. Like, look how great he is. Like, you have a future Hall of Famer up to bat Tony Gwynn, and you're zooming in on some dweeb's ass?
I mean, in their defense, Derek Jeter did join the Hall of Fame.
Derek Jeter's an overrated hack, and you all know it. I'm sorry. Derek Jeter is one of those people that benefits from playing on the Yankees. If he was on any other team, behind any other paywall, he would not be in the Hall of Fame. He's a good player because he had they were able to afford other players around him that were good. He is not even the top 5 best shortstops of his era. I will fight anyone on that. Not physically.
Just don't open Baseball Reference anytime soon. When no one thinks so.
He's not as good as A-Rod. Garcia Parra in his prime, he couldn't beat. All right, Miguel Tejada in his MVP year, he couldn't beat. I'm sorry. Vizquel, best defensive shortstop of all time, couldn't beat him. Jeter's overrated. Anyways, what were we talking about? Yadier Molina.
So, all kidding aside, we hate the broadcast, but the Cardinals, the last 2 times we went to the playoffs, 05-06, we faced the St. Louis Cardinals, and both time got soundly defeated. So I thought that moment when Tatis and Machado went back to back and tied the game, like, oh, it kind of felt as a Padre fan, we're starting to defeat the demons of times past. It's setting up to be, in my own stupid little, hero of 1,000 faces journey. We're going on the hero's journey. We've gotten so low, but we have to start beating the villains of past. Like we had to beat the Cardinals, right?
Yes.
And it was one of those times watching, like, oh, and Adam Wainwright was on the freaking team in 05. And you're like, oh wow, this is pretty crazy. It was awesome beating the Cardinals in the wild card series, and it just was like, because the Cardinals are always their team philosophy is always have a good team. They'll always be a good team. This is a general way that organizations ran. They always have a lot of money, and they'll always be a good team. So it just felt, oh, we're a good team. It didn't, and it also felt in that series, we backs against the wall. We really did fight, and it was just awesome. It was awesome seeing that
we earned that victory, even though there was only one player on that field the entire game, and that was Yadier Molina. Yeah. Because even when he wasn't up at bat, they would cut back to him. Like after the only time they didn't cut back to him was after the bat flip, but they realized, oh, we can't talk about Yadier Molina for the next 5 minutes because the Padres just took the lead in dramatic fashion.
I don't know if ESPN knows the game of baseball. I know that sounds rude, but their broadcasts are so bad because, like, Paul Goldschmidt destroyed the Padres that series. Like, whenever he came out to bat, James and I looked at like, oh, he's gonna hit a home run.
Yeah.
And he did a lot. And you're like, this stinks. This guy's too good. Like, he was a menace in the Diamondbacks. He's a menace here. Like, and then we never heard about this guy. Like, Paul Goldschmidt is like the clinical definition of like a hardworking baseball man who's incredibly good.
Yeah.
And no, it wasn't about him. It wasn't about, Tommy Edman from San Diego. There's so many storylines on that team.
It wasn't about that we have the best sports figure in history right now.
Right.
Tatis Jr.
It just felt so. It felt like the other demon we're facing is the media. Like, we have to. We're now in a place where the Padres are not only beating our old villains. We're now conveying ourselves. Oh, we're actually a powerhouse. We're actually, in 2021. Rated to be the top 3 team, one of the top 3 teams in baseball, if not the top team in baseball.
Yes,
and that's just something we've never been able to say.
No,
period.
And again, that broadcast, that whole series, everything they talked about was that guy. And again, I think it's just because they have a script. Yadier Molina has the best agent in baseball, clearly, because he was able to just like. Is he in the mafia? Some sort of cartel? They paid off ESPN because there's no reason for them to talk about him. It was again. He's a good player, but he's just a good player.
So James, we've listed the 4 things we've liked.
I have one more. You
have one more?
I have no.
Did I miscount? Do you have?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
You you did.
I don't do math on weekends. That's a policy.
Okay. My last one was the end of the deadline trades. For me, it was the proof that the Padres were serious. How many times the Padres passed? Oh, it's the end of deadline trading. Let's trade all of our players. Or, hey, if we're going to get a good player, let's get Matt Kemp, who hasn't had a good season in 7 years. Or let's trade somebody that's a good player, but it's up for a free agent in 2 months. So, and there's no way this great player is going to re-sign with the Padres. We can't afford him, but we'll have him for 2 months and say that he was okay. The end of the trade deadlines were the proof that I think it was further proof that the Padres are serious. Yes, Clevenger didn't turn out very well because he got hurt, but that's not on the trade itself. The spirit behind it. Austin Nola,
dude.
Trevor Rosenthal, lights out. The one that I like the best is Austin Nola because we traded Austin Hedges. I like Hedges. He's a great guy. But
I'm gonna stop right there. you know you're not a great baseball player when you caveat it. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Well, when you use the same things to describe a Labrador, he's really loyal. He's loving. He's just a great guy and honest. It's just, I mean, so here's the thing. Again, Hedges is a great guy, and I would love to meet him someday. But he is a stereotypical Padre player. We should, if this was Padres past, he would have been the Padres forever. Because the Padres always just good guys. But no, let's trade him because he's a dead weight on our lineup. Yes, he's the best framer in yeah, people, I've seen videos, dedicated videos on YouTube about him framing, but they never talk about his offense because there isn't any. Yeah. But no, we got Austin Nola, who's, if Hedges is a 10 defensively, Nola is an 8.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Hedges is a 0 offensively.
Listen, there's a case to be made. Hedges lost this game because he doesn't know how to use that bat. It's like, there's this great video. What would happen if Bonds never swung in a 2004 season? That's what Hedges is like, pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
He might as well not have swung. Hope that they threw 4 balls. Like, sometimes it's so bad. Like, his at-bats were so bad.
But again, it proved that the Padres were serious, because how many times have we kept players that they're just good defensively? That's all. Well, he's good behind the plate. You can be good behind the plate, but also good with the stick. We got the third best hitting catcher in the league, and incredible. So, like I said, the end of the trade deadlines, we are a serious team. That was my final one. What do you think?
This is so interesting about the 2020 Padres. You forget how stacked it is. It's so hard to we went into the trade deadline a good team.
Oh yeah.
And then Preller was like, I'm like, Preller's the obnoxious guy in board games. I'm convinced of it. He's the guy you play Settlers Catan with, and like, how did you get all the sheep? How are there no sheep? Well, I had this toothpick that's not part of the game, and I convinced this guy to, and like, all of a sudden he just like gives a thing away and gets like Trevor Rosenthal, like what a value add. Like that great San Diego vibe kind of guy, fireballer, like just awesome bullpen piece added. And you just forget. I don't know. It's so hard to think about. Like the term is embarrassment of riches. Like we just had so much good things happen. I forgot about Austin Nola. Like how much he changed, and how much our catcher situation was probably the worst part of the first half of 2020. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we rag on Hedges a lot, and Mejia. They both underperformed. You know what they were. And years past, Padres teams would just have let it be.
Yeah, because
they wouldn't have traded. They would have shored up any holes in the lineup whatsoever.
Yes. The best way I can think of it, 1998, the Padres went to the World Series. Our shortstop was Chris Gomez. Chris Gomez is a wonderfully nice man. I'm sure he's a
real good guy.
Great guy. One of the top 5 best defensive shortstops of that year. And every time he went up to the plate and looked like a cat swinging a bat.
It was bad.
They would all say, well, he has the best hands in all of baseball at shortstop. That's true. And you know, and I saw him make a lot of great plays, and every time the ball was hit over there, you knew he was going to make it. He was going to be consistent. He's the best turn 2 guy in the league at that time. But he had like 10 home runs that whole year. He hit below 250, I think. I can't remember, but we can look it up.
I can look it up.
But
I don't want to shame you, Chris. Please, we would love to interview Chris. Please come on the podcast.
I would love.
Please come on the podcast.
Come to our lovely studio. Again, this is the kind of player that we keep because he's a good defensive player. When we got rid of Hedges, we did not have a weak spot in that lineup. You know, like that. It was a threat 1 through 9.
Yeah, he batted 267.
Okay.
He ended his career with a negative value of wins above replacement.
Not surprising.
Poor guy. I mean, he wasn't great.
But
struck out a bunch of times.
But everyone said
7.7 OPS. That's not terrible. I mean, not great, but not terrible.
he was, again, everyone always said he had the best hands in the National League shortstops.
Yeah, no, definitely not 39 RBIs, 4 home runs. Yeah, not someone you're expecting much.
He only had 4 home runs in 1998.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I don't remember any of them, but
No,
it says it here on Baseball Reference. So
And the internet never lies. I mean, oh my goodness.
yeah, I mean, I to go back to trade deadlines. It was awesome. It was so cool to see. It was so cool rooting for a team that wanted to win.
Yeah.
That just was like, it was awesome. It was like, I think we texted each other in the happen. It's like, yeah, we have to stop thinking about we're just a prospect. I'm about to say company prospect team.
Yeah.
We're not like hoarding prospects. That's not our calling card anymore. Our calling card is that have a major league roster and we're going for it. Like that's so cool.
And not only did we trade people that we can control for a few years. And we will control for a few years. Yes, Clevenger went down, and that heartbreaking, especially after Lamet went down, and we saw our starting rotation fall apart. But we have Clevenger for 3 years. We have Austin Nola for 3 years. We traded people that not only we can have for a few years, we know we are going to keep for a few years.
Yeah.
Unless Capizano becomes the next Benito Santiago, which everyone says he will be, Austin Nola is our starting catcher.
I like Campusano a lot.
I do too.
I think I like his swing. I just like his vibe.
Oh, I do too. I do too. But
cool.
As of right now, he's played at a week in the majors. Yeah, he hit a home run, but Austin Nola is our starting catcher. And that was what, again, this year, the Padres proved to their fans, we are going to be a winning team for a while. Do not jump on and off this bandwagon. It has all 4 wheels.
And brakes.
And
but we'll
brakes.
never use them, but it does have brakes.
Yeah. It just, again, like it's a better built wagon is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
All right. So, we also decided, we didn't tell each other this because we wanted to be surprised. The one thing we didn't like about 2020 season.
Yeah. I'll start it.
Okay.
Or do you want?
No, go for it. Go.
I can add this out. Do you want to start?
Go.
Do you want me to go?
Yes.
Okay. You alluded to it. September 23rd, Mike Clevenger versus the Anaheim Angels. Toes the rubber. He strikes out Mike Trout. And we're like, oh, wait. Oh, hold up. This Mike Clevenger guy is going to lead us into the promised land. Padres go up to bat. Next inning comes up. Where's Mike Clevenger? Yeah. He's not on the mound anymore. And the announcers are like, we don't know where Mike Clevenger is. Adrian Morejon, I think, replaced him. And then everyone's like, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. He goes down. And there's just, for lack of a better term, weirdness from the Padres around what's happening to him. So it's September 23rd, and for a day we're like, is he really hurt? Well, he got some arm tightness, got some bicep tightness, got some elbow thing. Like, what are we doing? And of course, when a pitcher has arm problems, never good.
No. The 2 things you never want to hear from a pitcher is arm problems.
Okay, it's September 23rd. Okay, we're 8 days away from the playoff. It's okay, because we have what I talked about earlier, our true ace. We got this guy who's just mowing people down. September 25th rolls around against the Giants. It's a night game. The Mets doing great. Throws one pitch. He just beckons Castro back, and I just remember being like, oh, shoot. Because it's not something you call a catcher up to. It's the first pitch of an inning. Castro comes up. Castro motions the coaches, and Lamet leaves the game. And at that point, I was like, "Oh, we're not going anywhere in the playoffs. Where's this? We're dead in the water because they were our aces. They were 2-1s leading us into playoffs.
Yes.
So at this point, I'm like, we have a struggling Paddock. Davies, when he's right, is awesome to watch. But it's like that's not depth. That's not playoff depth. And every fan knew it. And we're like, man, this is going to be rough. It's going to be a rough one. And it was just rough. I mean, just because 2020 season ended, we lost the Dodgers because our starting pitchers couldn't go the distance at all. Literally, we used more relief pitchers than any other team in baseball history in playoff, like for that short amount of playoff span.
A stat the Padres are used to.
And in the wild card series, it was like, this is awesome. Like we had, because what's also we didn't mention the trade deadline stuff is Preller got a bunch of relievers that are nasty. You got Dan Antavilla that can be awesome, that'd be nasty. Got Austin Adams who can be nasty. Like, and we literally like every inning had a new pitcher. Relief pitcher. Yeah. Tim Hill, if used correctly, is awesome, right? And we're like, wow, we're playing this game. But after the wild card series, which is awesome, the Padres won a series they haven't won in a long time, playoff series. Downtown San Diego breaks every COVID restriction known to man. Parties like they swarm the team bus. They can't leave. Like, it's awesome.
It was the Beatles. The Beatles came to San Diego.
And every fan was like, yeah, but we don't have any starting pitchers.
Yeah, but against the best team in baseball.
But we don't have any starting pitchers.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was like, oh, we're going to rally behind it. And then we hear Clevenger. Oh, Clevenger's coming back for the Dodgers series. Clevenger toes the rubber, and then he leaves them out again. Yeah. So we're like, oh, we now especially don't have starting pitching.
Yeah.
And Paddock gets destroyed. We should do an episode on Paddock because that guy just is still super young, going to do
absolutely.
well. But that moment's big. It's a big moment. I mean, and Davies got destroyed, and it was just like, we can't just put a series against the best team in baseball on your relievers. Like, that's never happened. Like, even if we beat the Dodgers, I think all of our relief pitchers would have quit. They're like, our arms don't work anymore.
Yeah.
They're look at my arm. It's shriveled up. I can't like I'm sure Trevor Rosenthal, like, I literally can't get up in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a bummer. It was just because the season was fever pitch. We didn't even go in person, and it was fever pitch. San Diego County, like, I've never seen more Padres stuff. I've never seen more, like literally, Petco gave away these free stupid yard signs with Tatis saying most exciting team in baseball, and they're everywhere.
Yeah, they are.
The apartment above me has them. It's just like, this is incredible. It was awesome. And so it was just tough that last week of September, seeing our horses go down. And then the playoffs, just like, you just knew in the back of your head, like, there has to be something totally magical, which is sports. Magical stuff happens in sports, but you just like, we can't win with just relief pitchers. So that was a big bummer. It was a real big bummer. And the one thing that wasn't a bummer about that, we got to see my boy Ryan Weathers. And I think that guy, I love his moxie. Never played ever in Major League Baseball. We had no arms. Like, here, kid, have your premiere in the playoff series.
And he was dominant.
And the kid was so nervous. He came out chewing gum, but he was just like, "Whoa, okay, buddy." It was awesome.
Turned out it was a piece of his cheek he bit off by accident.
His poor jaw. It was just so, but he dominated. That was cool. Despite the darkness, there was some cool stuff.
What was that stat of him in
high school?
High school, he pitched 90 innings and struck out 150 batters.
Oh, he has like a sub .50 ERA. Like, what are we doing here, kid? What are we doing?
So posted on a meme, like, you know that friend of yours that said he was his best pitcher in high school? Yeah. Well, he actually was his best pitcher in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
looking forward to him in 2021. He's going to be great.
Yeah, what are your thoughts about the last week of September?
Well, this is going to lead into my end of, because I think we're very similar. But yes, it was truly heartbreaking. And it was just so And it was heartbreaking on a different level that I've never felt before as a Padre fan. Typically, when the Padres do well, you're like, oh, this is a treat. But no, this year it's like, oh, no, we deserve to be this good. We are this good, you know? And then to have it just, again, everybody I work with, everyone was walking around like, can we do it? Can we do it? Like, everyone was like, oh, yeah, we can do it. Yeah.
We're sports fans. We're delusional.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We're Padre fans with hope. We're even more delusional. Strom was going to start the game. Like, oh, yeah, Strom was starting. Strom hasn't started a game in 20 years.
Your voice gets higher. You're like,
Strom. Yeah, I mean, he did a good job. He did.
Oh, yeah. Great.
I mean, it was just, it was heartbreaking. And again, it was because we don't expect nice things.
No.
And to have a team that legitimately was, we deserve to be in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome. And again, it was heartbreaking, but we still made it to it. We advanced. We haven't advanced since 2001 in the playoffs. And we haven't
advanced to 2000. Oh, advanced?
Yeah, since to the next level.
2001, right? Yeah.
Yeah, since the last time we actually did that. As 2005 and 2006,
yeah, right.
We didn't advance.
Right.
We got knocked out in the first round. So we advanced. Advancing, yes, we killed all of our arms, but I think we showed that we did it, and we are a good enough team where we do have Snells and Darvish, healthy Lamet. We're going to be even better, you know? So, yeah, it was heartbreaking. Definitely. But my most disappointing thing this year was, again, same thing, heartbreaking. But I hate losing to the godless Dodgers. I can't stand it. It hurts every time. We are such a good team with good, honest people, and the Dodgers are they're this personification of what's wrong with LA. And only people in San Diego have the same loathing for LA. And the Dodgers are they have the most redheads on their team. And of course they do, because redheads have no souls. They're just, I would rather lose every game we ever play again, but beat the Dodgers every time. The Dodgers are the worst team in baseball. Morally,
Listen, you're not gonna, like, I've converted. Like, if there's like a church of hating the Dodgers. Listen, I'm a priest, you know, listen, I'll do the rosary. I'll pray to the God that hates the Dodgers. Like, yes. I'm on board. It was rough. It always is. It's always, the hatred of it is like, of the Dodgers is stemmed from going to Petco Park in Dodgers games.
Yeah.
And just seeing all those like grimy Dodgers fans that haven't bathed. Like, I think they bathe in just like pure dirt. Like, they don't even they don't take care of themselves. It's just filthy. And there's tons of them.
They're godless.
Yeah.
They're godless. This is what happens when people don't have a God. The Dodgers. and you're again, Joe's a little bit younger than me. You probably don't remember this, but remember we used to have smog alerts in San Diego?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's because air shifted. And all the smog came from LA and polluted the pristine, heaven-like air of San Diego was polluted by LA. And that's what it's like when the Dodgers come to town. They're bringing their smog and their filth. And they're just, and again, it's just, everyone has headaches. You know, crime goes up. Because and again, to lose to the Dodgers is the biggest motivation we have this year to go in and prove that we're the best team in baseball. I think we're the best team in baseball. The Dodgers have gotten nothing but older. Yeah, they won the World Series, but they've gotten a lot older. Their team is not the same team they were. they've lost a few pieces. Even if they somehow do get Trevor Bauer, they're not the same team. And
they're a different team over 162 games.
Oh yeah, they're definitely a different team over 162 games, and that's proof of the fact that Kershaw didn't crap out in the playoffs. I mean, he only pitched 10 games. Of course, his arm's not going to fall for the playoffs. Kershaw can't play after 162 games. That's proven scientific fact. We can beat the Dodgers this year because we are a better, younger, healthier team. And we've just gotten better. The Dodgers have just gotten older. They're just showing how corrupt they are. and again, I would rather lose every other game, but beat the Dodgers every day, every game. That would be awesome. But again, I can't. Losing to the Dodgers was the worst thing that's ever. It's always the worst thing that ever happens. Every year when we play the Dodgers, it's always the worst thing because they're just, as aforementioned, godless. And so, what do you think?
What's upsetting is I replay that Dodgers series a lot. Game 2 showed us that if we had just someone that could pitch 2 more innings well, it was a competitive series.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, this is the heart of the toughness of being a Padres fan, because when Tatis stepped up against Bruce Gratterall in the second game and he hits a bomb to center field, we're like, oh, this kid is on it. And then their kid, Cody Bellinger, robs the home run. At that point, I'm like, yeah, listen, they've made a deal with the devil. They've, they have,
children have been sacrificed.
There's pentagrams in their locker room. It's to me, it's like this is work. It's a cursed team that has advantage, right?
Yeah. And as the team that represents Christ through
the Padres,
this is our quest, our crusade is to beat the Dodgers.
Think about it this way. If you take the name Los Angeles Dodgers, they're literally trying to dodge angels.
Yeah.
Think about it. The Angel Dodgers.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
How
people.
arrogant to call that city Angels.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Idea.
Full of all the scum and villainy of Hollywood.
They are, I think, in Padres, if we're going back to the hero's journey, they are the biggest villain. It's the Yankees have a case, obviously. At some point, we do need a recap of '98. But the Dodgers have always been the biggest villain to Padres. And this is the year for us to be, next 3 years are going to be awesome entertainment because the Dodgers are not getting worse in the sense of they have no incentive to get worse.
No.
They are not. They have their sports ownership group is not interested in just saving money.
No.
They are interested in. You don't sign Mookie Betts for $430 million because you're a poverty franchise. You don't do that, right? They're going to be the villain that's going to be around. But when we kick their butts this 21, dude, it's going to be so satisfying. It's going to be so awesome seeing you, Darvish, twirl 7,000 different pitches and just mow through them. It's going to be awesome seeing Blake Snell take them down. It's going to be so much more satisfying this year.
Yeah. Like in classic hero versus villain stories, this is Sauron. This is, we need to take the ring to Mount Doom, throw it in there, and cast out the fallen angel. This is what has to happen. This is biblical time.
I don't know of a better way to end it.
No. Let 2021 is going to be a fantastic season. We are going to have a fantastic show for you guys every week. God bless. Hate the Dodgers. Peace out.